miserable people doing things they hate just to fit in. I know it's easier to get along peacefully, but have you ever thought about you? Don't know why I keep on doing what I'm told to do when the rules are made up by someone we never knew. Baby, wipe your tears and hear me out. We don't need someone to feel alright. Let's do the streets all in Monday. Let's call your exes and tell them they can join us too. Why always worry about money when you can get rich by trying to see the outside?
Hello, welcome. Welcome everyone. Today we are we have another fantastic show for everyone. I can't wait to get started. But first, I want to introduce my remarkable show producer. She's a woman who has navigated the complexities of marriage and divorce twice, raising 4 amazing adults along the way. Her journey of resilience and self-discovery post-divorce serves as a powerful testament, encouraging others to transform their challenges into opportunities for extraordinary success. And she inspires me all the time.
Oh, thank you, Lenore. Hello, welcome everyone.
Hi. And then even more exciting, if not even more, just as exciting. We have our guest today, Christina Gamez, and she is a registered nurse as of 2003, and she has always had a strong desire to care for people. Through her experience working in many different fields in and around the hospital setting, and in her research and evidence-based practice, Christina has found that the best way to care for someone is using a holistic approach. 100% agree. And this occurred when Christina's 5.5-month-old son passed away from a significant congenital heart abnormality. I'm so sorry. She's you spent many years trying to find a solution for the physical pain that she was experiencing that manifested as a result of the emotional pain that she hadn't acknowledged. Western medicine was not working for her. Not surprising. And it wasn't until she started integrating alternative and integrative therapies into her life that Christina found true healing. This exploration led her to a healing modality, call it healing touch. And as I was telling Christina right before we started, it's amazing. I hadn't heard about healing touch until earlier this year. Now she is the 3rd person that I've encountered in really significant ways that practices healing touch. And I've actually had a session done on me briefly. And I don't know, I felt happier afterwards, that's for sure.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear that.
Oh.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm really excited to have you here today. And I know Pam is too. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this is fascinating.
I can only wish that I had what we're going to had known what we're about to talk about when I was going through my difficult days of divorce, and only learned much later in my recovery. But if you're ready, Attorney Lenore, we'll kick off with the first question.
Definitely, I'm ready.
All right, let me bring that up. Dear Attorney Lenore, I don't know what's going on with me. Dear Attorney Lenore, I am a seasoned senior executive in my company. I am always on top of my game and my circumstances. However, Over the past few months since my husband left and filed for a divorce, I've been feeling really off, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is. There are moments in meetings where my heart just starts racing for no apparent reason, and I find it hard to catch my breath. It's like I'm constantly on edge, even when there's nothing immediate to worry about. I'm in control. Also, it's been strange that I have trouble sleeping. What's going on with me? Sincerely, feeling out of control.
Wow.
Mm,
I can relate when you're the person that carries the weight of the world, the one that
mm,
gets it all done. Um, yeah, it's she's feeling out of control, and she's just overwhelmed and stressed, and it's one of those things where the glass, you can fill it, and then it starts
mm,
overflowing. And I mean, she has so much on her plate, and yeah, of course it's going to, her body's starting to like overload. It's
mm.
frazzling, and divorce is just so stressful in and of itself, and then all of the other things it brings up emotionally,
Yeah.
all these unresolved issues. This is somebody that needs to take a breath and
Mm,
start taking care of themselves, not everybody else, but themselves. I mean,
mhm.
Christina, I'm sure you can expand
Yeah,
on this much more
yeah,
than I can, but
absolutely. So
please.
many things coming to mind, and I have so many things to share. But just the first thing that's coming to mind is just being able to identify what's happening to you and listen to your body. Your body is so smart. It's constantly sending signals to you. It's constantly receiving and sending information. And when we're exposed to so much stress, our body kind of goes into this fight or flight reaction. It's your
Mm,
sympathetic nervous system turning on, and it's a natural response, and it's really important because it protects us and it helps us get ready to kind of fight the battle. But if we don't allow our bodies to turn that off, prolonged exposure to that stress, those hormones, the chemicals that your body releases during a stressful event, it can cause physical symptoms. You can
mhm,
start to notice pain in your body, trouble sleeping, just anxiety, eating habits change. You can have difficulty concentrating, so many things. So it's really important to identify how you feel, to acknowledge that there's something going on with your body, and then see what you can do in your life that you can turn that sympathetic nervous system off. In healing touch, we do so many relaxation techniques and help your body get into the state so that it can relax, so that it can turn off that sympathetic nervous system. But you really have to take purposeful time to rest. Do things that bring you joy. You can walk in nature, spend time with people that fill your cup. Journaling is a great technique too. And I have something for a feeling out of control. I know we're kind of we have a lot to talk about, but I'd like to share just an important technique I really like to share with my clients. When you feel so out of control, it's good to know what you can control. So you can control your own schedule. You can control your own thoughts and your own actions. So I like to tell people about this imaginary box. And what it is you just designate a certain period of time every day, even just a couple minutes. Maybe it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes. You can set your phone timer, and you can just sit in a safe place, and just open the imaginary box and let out whatever emotions, whatever feelings, whatever thoughts you have that need to come out. It's important to allow yourself time to to let those out in a controlled environment. And if you do that little by little, consistently, it really helps over the long run. You find yourself having a little bit more control over your emotions and control of your life when you make that designated time to let those emotions go.
Hmm.
You
Wow.
have a question for you, Christina. I as I was reading this person's situation, I found it interesting that she didn't even really acknowledge that the divorce might be having some impact on how she's feeling. Is that part of dealing with the stress of the situation? She just didn't even really say anything much about the impact.
Yes, absolutely. It can be so overwhelming, all of the things. And it's almost like you don't have the bandwidth, you don't have the ability to really accept. You go through these stages of grief when you're going through loss, and denial can be one of them, or the inability to accept what's happening because it's just too much information coming in. Your body's trying to figure out how to manage that. And really, it's just all these stress hormones filling your body, changing your biochemistry, and really making it hard to concentrate and to figure out really what's next. So just designating that time and being in control of your own schedule is really just so, so important to spend time with yourself so that you can really identify what's happening.
Yeah.
So what? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
no,
Pam. No,
I was
what
just
I
going
was,
to say that
go ahead.
the imaginary box. I'm wondering what you might tell this woman if you were sitting with her if you're in a meeting with her, you could probably see something going on with her, right? Like an observant person would see that. And if you could whisper into her ear what she should do in that moment or put in her imaginary box, what would you say to her?
The words that are coming to mind is let it go. We have so much pressure on ourselves and on each other in society. We feel the need to keep it in and keep it together and make it look like we're fine. I've been seeing stickers and buttons. I'm fine, really, I'm fine. Everything's fine. And it's kind of a joke, but but that's real. We're telling ourselves we're fine, we're fine. We're keeping it in. It's so important to actually let it go, breathe it out. Whatever it is that's bothering you, allow that to go. When you keep those emotions bottled up inside of you, that's really what causes this anxiety and this overwhelm. And I've got some really great book suggestions. Actually, The Power of Letting Go is a great book suggestion. And it's just so important to not feel like you have to keep it in, keep it together. It's okay to let it out. It's okay to cry. It's okay to exhale.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, two of the things came to mind for me in this, and I don't even know why I didn't think of this first, but my husband had a very, very, very stressful childhood and carried into adulthood, so much so that he had developed adrenal fatigue and Hashimoto's, and he was really ill, and he had already, unbeknownst to us, because we didn't realize what autoimmune issues look like, he had started the autoimmune process before he really bottomed out. Had shingles, had sarcoidosis,
and that's
and
his body sending him those signals.
And it was really trauma that he, even though he was working in therapy. Talk therapy really isn't always the best thing because it ingrains it back into your neural pathways. So all of this trauma was in his body. It was trapped in his cells. And with the trouble sleeping, I thought, oh, cortisol, because he couldn't sleep. And that stress. To me, this woman is a perfectionist. And she just can't let anything show that it's not perfect. So God knows, I'm just thinking what happened in her childhood. And then the other thing that came up for me is when my son was younger, and to help him not be anxious and to help him with his executive functioning, which shuts off when your parasympathetic nerve system goes haywire, is they would tell him, smell the flowers, breathe in, and blow out the candles. And what I didn't realize, I mean, that was just a technique and it worked for him. I didn't realize till I went to a great seminar with a mediation, and the presenter was writing a book about solving conflict from within. He said, which I didn't realize, and I'm sure you know this, that when you are in that fight or flight sense where your executive functioning shuts off, you're breathing in a very shallow way. Absolutely. And that just those deep breaths brings oxygen to your brain, and and it switches back your executive functioning on. So that deep breathing is so important, which I didn't realize it until why it was important. I just remember my son's teachers telling him that, and when he's with me now at 25 and I get all worked up, he'll say, Mama, breathe, smell the flowers, blow out the candles, my Buddha.
I love that. Yeah, your brain is receiving information from the base up. So information comes from the brain stem and then makes it to the midbrain, and that's where your body goes, alarm, or it's okay, I can think through it. So if there's alarm and your amygdala picks up stress signs, your body is shooting off the adrenaline and the cortisol, your blood pressure is going up, your heart rate's going up, your respirations are going up, your pituitary gland, your adrenal glands go into overdrive, kicking out all of these hormones. And so information can't even really get quite to your thinking brain. So you wonder, like, what is going on with people? Why did they not think through that? And it's like they don't have the ability, because the message kind of got halted right in the lower part of the brain, and your body is reacting to that response. And so yes, over a period of time, you are going to have those Hashimoto's and these long-term illnesses, but rest assured, your body is constantly trying to give you those signals. So if you start having pain that's not explained, or insomnia or headaches, can't figure out why, your body is telling you that there's something wrong. And you're right, just like you said, that trauma gets trapped. There's a wonderful book called The Body Keeps the Score, and it talks about how, yes, your body holds on to that. And so it's so important to find ways to let that go. And really that holistic approach helps. When you go to the doctor, I had this experience firsthand. I had chest pains, just crushing chest pains, palpitations. I couldn't catch my breath. I was seeing a cardiologist. I was taking the medication. I was seeing the talk therapist, and nothing was working, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And I wasn't dealing with my stress. I couldn't even imagine how to. And my body was telling me something's wrong. Medications aren't going to help. The doctor wasn't able to diagnose that. You can't see that on a chest x-ray or an EKG. So I really had to go through deep personal healing and let those emotions come out of my body and those experiences. It's a long road sometimes.
Yeah, well, divorce is akin to a lot of trauma, but let's get on to our next question. Yes. I'm sorry. Get to the next.
I love it. Let's do it.
Yes.
I'm not ready for the confrontation. Dear Attorney Lenore, tomorrow is the final meeting with my soon-to-be ex-spouse and our attorneys about our final divorce proceedings. I anticipate this meeting being quite confrontational, and frankly, I'm feeling quite anxious. She wants more than is reasonable. To date, I haven't felt fully prepared for the emotional and verbal challenges that she started day one. I'm not ready, and I feel it's too late to get ready. What can I do? Sincerely, 11th hour stress.
So
All right,
this kind of dovetails into what we were talking about. Like, this has been building up, and it's probably been, building up on things that this person had experienced in trauma long before they
Mm.
way that trauma that was happening with, I don't know why I'm sorry, my internet's going kooky. But so yeah, of course, this person doesn't feel prepared. This is just, it's bigger than the whole event. It's everything that's happened up until, this day and more. And so yeah, somehow this person needs to be brought into the present. They need to put it in the present as opposed to all the past. So Christina, what techniques would you suggest to bring yourself in the present to deal with this very painful process? I mean, this is kind of like the final goodbye.
So much. Yeah, so much. One of my biggest tips is setting the intention. So what is it that you want to get out of this meeting? It's never too late. The meeting hasn't happened yet, even if it's tomorrow. Just stop and think about what is your intention for that interaction. And I like to use that technique starting off the day, before I go to any meeting, before I have an encounter with anybody in particular. Is the intention to be present? Is it to be empathetic? Is it to stay on topic? And you want to write down what it is that you want, because sometimes, if somebody else has an agenda or an intention and you don't, the meeting can really go their way and completely derail you and get you off track. So set the intention, write down what it is that you want out of it, and be purposeful about it. And the other thing, too, it can be very intimidating. Sometimes people can say, be very demanding and, be a certain way. And so you can kind of prepare yourself for that by saying positive affirmations. I really like those positive affirmations. You can write them down. You can put them on a sticky note in your bathroom mirror. I believe in myself. I can do this. I am able. You can set your alarm on your phone for a certain time, perfect, maybe 15 minutes before that meeting. You can do this. You are strong. I am strong. Speak as if you believe it, even if you don't. Speak as if it's the present moment, like it already happened. So you want to write down your positive affirmations about yourself, because you are enough. You are strong. You are able to do this. So bring yourself some confidence by doing those positive affirmations routinely. Set your intention for what it is that you are wanting to do, and just make sure the best way to stay in the present time. Eleanor, you nailed it. What are your 5 senses? What is your body doing right now? What is it that you see? What colors do you see? What shapes do you see? What do you smell? Do you smell, nature outside, leaves? Do you smell food? What is it that you smell? What do you hear? Do you hear, cars in the background? Do you hear your own heart beating? Do you hear your breath? And then center yourself on those feelings. What is it that I can touch right now? This is where I am right here, right now. Take a breath and then continue on.
Yeah, so I've heard those techniques. Go ahead, Pam.
Yeah, I was just listening to what you were describing. I was just wondering about the poor soul who is this person in particular who may be completely unfamiliar with the experience of these techniques and what they sort of their what's the word I'm looking for, the band-aid approach, so to speak, in the event that they just don't know how to go into themselves. They don't know how to set the intention. They don't know how to look for colors and sounds and sights and so forth. Is there a backdoor technique to this that they could do pretty quickly and it still would be effective in the event they just don't know how to prepare in time?
I always say, always begin with the breath. So if it's too much, what did they say about the senses? What do I do? Just the breath in through the nose. Try to become the experience of the breath. Just feeling the breath alone can reset you. There's so many wonderful studies out there of how beneficial just taking that intentional breath, even just if it's one.
I love that answer because one, it's easy to do. Two, it's free. Three, it can be as private as you need it to be. Nobody needs to know really what you're doing. And four, it's underrated. Like
So much.
the breath, I mean, we would rather go get a glass of wine or a pill or something else to give us the same effect that you're describing the deep breaths would give. So I think that's a great backdoor answer to that poor soul who may not be able to have any time to.
Absolutely. And I like to say it's a gift. It's a true gift. The breath is a gift. You're breathing out oxygen. Nature, the trees all around you, anything green is breathing off carbon dioxide, and you're breathing in the carbon dioxide. And so it is a true gift, the cycle of nature. It's natural, and just returning back to the breath. You're right. It has effects so much faster, longer lasting, and better for you than reaching for that glass of alcohol or that pill bottle, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, oxygen is, there's even, I've read about the holotropic breath work that people have used that kind of it'll put you in a sort of psychedelic state that a lot has been investigated about putting people in psychedelic states to deal with trauma, PTSD, and things like that. So it is very powerful. And the other thing I wanted to touch on too, Christina, with what you were saying about is the intention and visualize. For years, athletes and sports psychologists have been practicing that technique. You know, like, what is it going to be like when for that winning game, see yourself, winning that, in fact, that was when we were at the women's conference, the athlete, the gold medalist, was talking about how her coach and psychologist had her visualize how that race was going to go over and over in her head, and it went just the way she visualized it. So it's very, very powerful, very powerful technique. So it's not hokey. I mean, really, like, positive affirmations. No, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
For sure. It can help with goal setting, obtaining your goals, obtaining dreams. It can help so much. It's so powerful. It can help with health, even, coming back into a state of health after you've been sick, using visualization. And it helps so much to work with someone who's trained in visualization to really help identify what it is that you want to visualize. What are your goals? What are you working on? And help walk you through that so that you're equipped to go and continue to do that in your own time. But yeah, with preparing for this meeting, and it's all too much, visualize your outcome, what you want it to happen. Set your intention and be crystal clear. And that's how energy gets set in motion to work in your favor.
Nice. Should we move on now, Attorney Lenore?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
definitely.
it's a great answer. All right. Divorce is one of 1,000 stressors. Dear Attorney Lenore, not only am I facing the possibility of a divorce with 15 years of marriage under my belt, I have 100 other things to deal with. 2 children, one that is special needs, my job that is downsizing, an aging father, not to mention 2 demanding dogs. How do I manage the difficulty of divorce plus all of my other stressors? Sincerely, overwhelmed.
Mm. You know what comes to mind is what they
What?
tell you on the airplane. If the oxygen mask comes down and you have a child, you breathe first and then give it to
Yeah.
your child.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love that
you
analogy. That's so
got to
true.
give yourself oxygen first. If you are not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. Much easier said than done. Much easier said than done.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's of course it's like, and now this too.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
possibly it's a pattern that this is giving her the opportunity to her or him the opportunity to reset. And sometimes I'm being a little Pollyanna and philosophical here, but there are certain trees and forests that the seeds do not grow unless the forest burns down. And and maybe this is just time for her to reset what the next part of her life is going to be like.
Mhm.
And but
Wait,
because when I'm looking at this, I'm like, honey, you are on a path of physical destruction.
Yeah.
Your body is
Yeah.
going to stop, it's going to start shutting down. I mean, things
yeah,
like that has happened to me too. That's what happens to your body. I mean, it's just like a machine. Like, if you don't give it what it needs, it's going to
Yeah.
seize and give up.
yeah.
So, this is one where I'd say, oh, breathe, really breathe, and then start taking things off your plate. This is too much.
Yes, yes. And in the energy field, we say, shed that which does not serve you, for sure.
Mm.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And
And,
what else
and
would
what
you add?
Yeah, and what we talked a little bit about, taking control of what you can. You have control of your schedule. And I'm a big fan of writing the good old fashioned calendar with my pencil, and I open my month before my month begins, and I put in all of the things that I need to do, family obligations,
Mhm.
work meetings, all of those things. And that way I can see what time I have available for myself. And then I start writing in, walk with my best friend, you know,
Mm.
um, go for a massage this day, schedule that
Mhm.
in, schedule in the energy session, the workout Pilates class, put your classes in. And that way you have complete control. How much time are you giving to social media or to news or to things that don't help you? I know a lot of people that they're so stressed and all this stuff going on, but they spend so much time, before they go to bed, social media or watching the news. So those are the things that you can shed and spend time doing things that serve you, reading a good book that helps you, or spending time with somebody that really fills your cup, that gives you energy, or listening to that guided meditation before you go to bed. So those are the things that you can control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Mhm. I just, a moment of transparency for myself. I actually had, I feel like I know this person because I had my own breakdown, managing so many things. And this was probably the precursor to my divorce. And my breakdown was in front of my children. But what I realized is, and this was what was thinking about with this person overwhelmed, it's like the sense that I had to be the one to do everything, that I couldn't, for some reason, rely on others to, can you pick up my kid? Or can you take the darn dogs for a month? Or, can you help me with my dad? I felt like I was the only one who could be everything to everyone. I had to be superwoman. And that cost me emotionally. And it cost my children seeing this woman who always seems to have it together, a complete wreck.
Right,
So
right. And
I really feel for this person. I think that these are some of the unnecessary burdens we carry when we don't ask others to help us, so that we can then do what you said, Attorney Lenore, put on our own mask first. Because I was putting a mask on everybody else,
yeah.
And
there you are, depleting
and there it was.
yourself.
Yeah. And there's so much behind that psychologically. There's a lot of shadow work that has to be done for you to realize, well, why do I do that? Why do I
Yeah.
need to do that? Why do I feel like I can't trust anybody? Why do I have to I was the fixer in my family. It took me a long time to figure that out. But you don't have to be the fixer. And then the other thing too that came to mind for me with this person is, why don't you feel that you personally are good enough to deserve all of that attention that you give to others? Why aren't you worthy of that attention? That's a thing of self-esteem. And that comes back to, what you're saying with the personal affirmations and acknowledging who you are. Because sometimes people, especially women, we don't know how to set boundaries.
Yeah.
We just have our roots everywhere, but you have to set boundaries,
For sure.
because people take as much as you give. That's just natural. And, so that this is a person that, has to learn how to take the oxygen first and put those boundaries and do all those good things that you deserve. And our society does not support that. And Pam, you're a rock star whether or not you're doing all those other things or not. But it's easy as a mother caring for children to lose sight of who you are and let yourself be drained, because genetically, in some respects, you're programmed to do that. And there's some kind of adrenaline or high you get, like you're getting all these accolades.
It's a pattern. Yeah.
For being self-sacrificing. And there's something in society that supports that. And that's not really, in it's in, I don't want to go matriarch. I'm not going to go down that road, but society doesn't always support women taking care of themselves in the same way that they support men taking care of themselves.
We need a paradigm shift.
Yeah. So
we need to support each other.
Yeah, because it's important to family structure and healthy, emotionally healthy and physically healthy children, for that kind of a shift. And I think in Sweden, they have a much more balanced co-parenting family approach than we do. But
and the best way to teach your kids,
I digress.
Yes. Too, you want to teach your kids, good habits and healthy habits, and they don't learn from what you say. They learn from what you do. And so, my mother, she worked and she cooked and she cleaned and she did all that stuff. So that's what I learned. That's how that gets passed on, is you watch your environment, and that's what you do. So we need to teach our kids to create boundaries, by creating boundaries, and we need to teach our kids how to care for themselves by caring for ourselves. So we have to be the example. And I know a lot of people who feel very uncomfortable sitting in meditation, and they think, oh, I'm this breath work, I feel very uncomfortable. And that's, the first thing is to identify that, what's going on inside. Let's work on your self-esteem. Let's work on those affirmations, just like you said, Lenore, for sure.
Yeah, good
You
stuff.
are worth it.
Yes, you are. You are. So I guess we'll go on to our next question.
All right. Are you ready for the next one then?
Yes.
Great. Here we go. Life has lost its meaning. Dear Attorney Lenore, I am planning to divorce my spouse. The marriage has been over for several years. Facing this inevitable situation, I have lost passion and meaning in life. It's hard for me to get out of bed most days. I don't get outside and walk like I used to, and I eat to pass the time. And when I'm not eating, I'm pouring myself a bottle of Merlot, not a glass. I need to be strong for the divorce, but I just don't have the energy. What do I do? Sincerely, Merlot is my BFF.
This is scary for me, hearing this. I mean, first of all, this person is clearly depressed with good reason, but real clinically depressed. This person is clinically depressed, and this person is starting to drink. And that's not a good combination, because if you are somebody that has that gene of addiction and you start going down that road and you flip that switch, that you're in for a lot of trouble. I mean, it's one thing to just have a glass of wine to relax, but this person's drinking a bottle, knows they're drinking a bottle, knows that they shouldn't be drinking a bottle, and is starting to not eat, not do all the things that they normally do. I mean, these are signs leading not only towards that this person is depressed, but possibly leading towards an addiction. So this person needs to get support emotionally, physically, and needs to not be drinking wine. There's all the techniques. Christina, share with us all the techniques this person could do, other than what they're doing now, that could make things so much better for them.
Yeah, I would recommend definitely talking to somebody professional. There's a lot of resources out there. A lot of employers have an employee assistance program where you can talk to somebody for free if you're worried about money. They have counselors. I don't know if you all know, but there is a new suicide prevention phone number. It's 988. It's not, similar to 911 for physical emergencies. For mental emergencies, you can call or text 988, and that is the national number for suicide prevention. So I think that's very important. It's 24/7. Also, when you hold on to feelings of anger and jealousy and fear, sadness, those emotions have a very low vibrational frequency, an energetic low vibrational frequency, and they are very energy draining. And so if you have those symptoms for a long time, you can just feel completely depleted. And so actually, for a lot of my clients, I like to incorporate something called heart math, and it helps with heart-brain coherence and kind of raising your vibrational frequency by thinking intentionally about things that bring you joy. With this person, I'm not sure if they're there yet, but heart math can absolutely help. Using gratitude. acts of gratitude consistently, thinking about things that bring you joy, and then doing those things. Even just being outside in nature can raise your vibrational energy to help kind of pull you slowly out. And then you just need to integrate these things consistently into your life. A lot of people feel like, sleep gives them energy, food gives them energy, but really not necessarily. There's so many other things that give you energy, such as, having an experience that you've really enjoyed or that you've planned for with people that you really love, going to see something beautiful that you find beautiful. So incorporating those things consistently, very important.
Yeah, and alcohol is a very, when you're talking energy, very
It's a
dense,
depressant.
low energy substance.
And it might help you feel better for that moment, but it is a depressant. And so over a long period of time, that is actually what's going to make you even more sad, more depressed.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And nature is, scientifically, they've said, all of that energy that's in nature is a much higher vibration than most man-made situations.
So where would you say she should start? There was a few things going on: not walking, not going out into nature. She's not eating that the way she should, and she's drinking. It's like, but that's a lot right there. I think you said she should get some help, and her help would probably say something similar. But where would she start? What's the low-hanging fruit starting place?
Just tell anyone, a peer, and hopefully they know the resource, maybe a manager at work. Because sometimes you just need one person that can give you hope by just letting you know that they care and helping direct you. I know sometimes it's overwhelming. Oh, there's so many resources, there's so many things you can do. And that's just too overwhelming for somebody in this state. So just telling somebody, and then hopefully, I teach suicide awareness to the community, and we teach just giving somebody hope by listening to them and showing empathy, and then taking them to that resource. And if it's calling 988, if it's going to the doctor, calling the chaplain, if that person can just be a glimmer of hope, then that is where you start, with just telling somebody and not feeling like you need to do this alone.
Because most likely she's not bringing in support to her problem. She is trying to manage it on her own. I see what you're saying. That makes perfect sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. Are we ready for the next one, Lenore?
Yes.
I think this is our last one.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh.
I can't catch my breath, dear attorney Lenore. Since my husband asked me for a divorce 2 weeks ago, I can only describe what I've been feeling as a panic attack. His announcement knocked the breath out of my soul, literally. I can't seem to breathe at times, and it's getting the best of me. How do I control what's going on inside instead of it taking control of me? Sincerely, suffocating. Oh.
Wow. And this brings us full circle to where we started.
Yeah.
It starts with the breath, and really, you see that saying, just breathe, because nothing else in your body works unless you're breathing. So,
good point.
Yeah, I mean, she had, and her, she's having the panic attacks because she's in that constant fight or flight mode. And the breathe, the deep breath work is what's going to help bring her out of that. And Christina, I'm sure you have so many more things to offer, as far as what this person can do to help them get out of these panic attacks.
I do. I actually, I have just an activity, a breath work activity that I'd love to share. We covered a whole lot during this very, very quick hour. But if it's okay with you, Lenore, I'd love to do just a little bit of a mindfulness breathing
Mm.
exercise, a little bit of heart math, just for a couple minutes. I know we're kind of running short on time, if that's okay.
Mm.
Oh, I would love that. Boy, this is a free takeaway for me. This is great.
Okay, all right. So if you just find yourself right where you are in your seat, settle in, begin to just notice the chair beneath you. Notice the support beneath your bottom, holding your back. Maybe you can feel your feet on the ground. And when you're ready, I invite you to just take a nice deep breath in and gently close your eyes. Fill your lungs with fresh new oxygen and breathe out. See if you can just become aware of your breath. Maybe you can become the observer or the watcher. See if you can observe an entire breath cycle, actually. Maybe you fill your nose with, you feel the cool air going through your nose as you breathe in, expanding your lungs fully. Your belly rises. And as you breathe out, your belly contracts and the air escapes your lungs. And maybe the air going out of your nose is warm. Just notice the experience of the breath just for a moment. And as you breathe in, allow love and light and energy to come into your body and fill your body full, fresh, new light and energy and love. Know that in this space you are loved and supported, and there is no judgment. There is no expectations. There is nothing to do, nowhere to go. And as you breathe out, just see if you can breathe out anything that doesn't serve you. See if you can let go any emotions right now. See if you can relax those muscles in your jaw just a little bit more. Feeling your shoulders fall away from your ears. Allow your body to kind of melt into the chair beneath you. Just for a moment. See if you can bring awareness to your heart center. Maybe you can even place your hands over your heart. Breathe into this space. Maybe you can acknowledge the incredible intelligence that your body has, that your heart alone has. As it knows exactly what to do to take care of you. It beats all by itself without you having to tell it to beat. It does it all on its own. And see if you can relax even just 5% more into knowing that your heart is working for you and doing everything it needs to do just for you. And see if you can bring one thought to mind that brings you great joy. Maybe it's a person or a place. Maybe it's something you worked so hard for and there's tremendous joy in your accomplishment. Breathe. Maybe you can begin to even lift the corners of your mouth. Maybe you find a smile in your next breath. So much peace in this space. And know that is always available to you at any given moment. All you have to do is just know it. Notice the breath. What I want you to do is just take one more big deep breath in through the nose, hold it at the top for as long as you can, and open your mouth and let out a big, let it all out. Feels so good. You can begin to shake your head a little bit and move your shoulders, maybe wiggle your fingers or your toes, coming back into this space that we are together. Maybe feeling just a little bit better than you did before.
Powerful stuff.
Thank you.
Ooh.
Such an honor.
Oh, thank
That
you.
was great.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. That I felt like I went into a different state. It was so meditative and again,
It's
free.
such a gift.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we're now going to Christina, tell us how to reach you.
Well, thank you.
Um,
Yes. I do have a website, healthandhealingwithchristina.com. My email is on there, Facebook, Instagram. I do have a scheduling application that's available if anybody wants to make an appointment. I do meet via Zoom. I do have a physical location as well in Chester Springs if anyone is interested in a little bit more of this work and especially healing touch, just trying to work through those emotions that your body is holding on to so that you feel better. Happy to help.
Oh, thank you, Christina. This was wonderful. This was wonderful. And I also would like to offer our viewers another takeaway, which is you can schedule a 60-minute consultation with me at a discount. I normally charge $350, but for anyone who has watched this video or is attending, they can have that session with me for $100, and they can reach out to me at divorcedonedifferentlypa@gmail.com to schedule.
All right. Thanks again, Christina, for being Lenore's guest. Lenore, thank you so much for allowing me to move this show into a great direction of great information for everyone to experience in the future.
Thank you. You're the wind beneath my wings. Thank you.
I bet you say that to all the producers.
Yeah, I know. All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.